Alright everyone, yesterday I mentioned that the great Glenn Greenwald, who I definitely don't always agree with on especially foreign policy issues, but he's an independent journalist and it doesn't matter. I mentioned that he had resigned from the Intercept. Now the dude is getting $500,000 a year with virtually carte blanche, but he decided to stand on principle because what happened, link in the description, because he's now using Substack and to publish his article, and what you see there is a draft article that he submitted actually before the people who are editorial at the Intercept, and they said that they wouldn't publish it without major structural change, and what he's saying is essentially that means they wanted an omission of Joe Biden being culpable in the Hunter Biden thing. Now, we objectively, observably know that we have credible allegations that Joe Biden did business through and with his son with foreign firms in both China and Ukraine. We have emails that corroborate this. We've got individuals corroborating the emails. We have no reason to doubt them. We have photographic evidence corroborating all the other claims about Hunter that have ever existed. And we have multiple individuals saying Joe Biden was explicitly involved to some degree in these dealings. In my opinion, if the public knew that this was the case, Joe Biden would be 10 points behind right now. What Glenn Greenwald is suggesting is the Intercept has abandoned independent journalism, which, you know, most missing link media groups, and he was one of their founders, by the way, so I'm sure he doesn't say it lightly. Most missing link media groups started out fairly independent. Even if you go back to things like Huffington Post or something, some of the rancid, like a Slate, left-wing groups that are explicitly hyper-politicized, even a lot of those groups, while politicized to begin with, were initially more independent. They had actual journalism going on. Over time, money comes in. This is how corruption happens. Money comes in, ethics go out the window. Many of them have been co-opted by basically what amounts to a global cabal. This global cabal traverses party. It has no specific hard ideology. It's not left or right, specifically speaking. It's just a nexus of money and corruption, and these people wash one another's hands. It's the establishment. Now, leftists used to understand this. They're crucifying Greenwald at the moment. They're saying, well, Greenwald just wanted to be able to praise Trump. He's a Trumper now. Have you actually read what he's written? Have you actually looked at his core beliefs, and certainly the things he said with regards to Assange and extradition there? He's no fan of Trump. But he's trying to report on what Biden has been up to, allegedly, and in a corroborated manner. It's not just some allegation from an anonymous poster on 4chan or something, some random Reddit user. This is something that's fleshed out with actual material. It goes beyond a tabloid smear piece. These sites have compensated by creating a wall of silence around Biden and simply saying, well, it's disinfo and propaganda, so we're not going to report on it and we're not going to investigate it. Why won't you report on it? Because we don't have corroboration that it's true. Well, why not? Oh, but we're not going to look into it. Well, if you don't look into it, how do you corroborate whether it's real or not? You won't even perform a forensic analysis on the materials that are alleged to be true. When this analysis has been performed, all these groups agree that it's real. You have, to this day, a total non-denial by the Biden camp regarding these claims. Joe Biden, when asked about it, he just says, well, that's a smear. It's disinfo from that evil Russian Giuliani. Dude, again, 5 or 6 years ago, nobody would have taken such a claim seriously, including the tabloid legacy media. Greenwald has left. What do the people at the Intercept do? They smear him. They run a disinfo campaign, oddly enough, against Glenn Greenwald, proving exactly what he's saying. Well, he's just trying to get people to use Substack. He's got a big ego. He has ambitions. He wants to have his own media firm or something. I'm sure that he does have ambition. I'm sure that he does want his media firm. Dude's got a family. He just walked away from $500,000 a year. Obviously, he's willing to stand on principle. And the dude, well, you know, presumably fairly well off. He's not Tucker Carlson. he's not Rush Limbaugh. He's not at liberty with enough fuck you money to just say, whatever, and wander off into the hinterland. He's got to actually work. That's why independent commentators are so much better than those under corporate contracts. Once you start getting money, this is why I have consistently shunned taking any money from business ventures. I've been offered all sorts of different deals, and I've rejected all of them that didn't involve me taste testing coffee or reviewing a book or something like that. Because I know myself. I know that human beings are tested by money. Not necessarily money in and of itself, but if it comes from a centralized source, it comes with a caveat. It comes with a rider. This is what we saw with Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley was set up by a bunch of well-meaning libertarian individuals, but then they started getting money. Companies and individuals are very, very bad at squirreling away money for a rainy day. They typically spend just behind what they make. This is the case with Silicon Valley. So they started designing their sites around $100 million a year budget. Well, if they think they're going to lose $30, $40 million of budget because people are trying to pressure them to censor things, their inclination is to flip out and censor things. They'll try to half-ass it, and we see YouTube, for example, doing this all the time. We see Zuckerberg doing this. They try to half-ass it to appease everyone. Inevitably, they keep moving slowly in that censorious direction. The legacy media makes money. They rely on ad revenue and sponsors and things of that nature. Of course, they become corrupt. And so you have to cycle the old out and bring in the new from time to time. It's inevitable. This is what the corporate giants of big tech are trying to avoid now by suppressing alt tech as part of a vertical monopoly. Big story of the day for my BitChute exclusive will be about Mark Zuckerberg doing what I predicted a month ago the big tech bigwigs would eventually do, and pressing for Congress to change 230. Did you even hear about this? Zuckerberg himself, supposedly beneficiary of the status quo, is, well, I think that we need to change it because people expect more. That's because he wants to do away eventually with 230, because Facebook thinks that it can now editorialize content and be explicitly a publisher and escape repercussions because of AI and machine learning. It's developed enough, they think, to pretty soon be able to roll it out. They just have to stall out things in congressional talks for another year or two, which is very easy when you got deep pockets and you've got your hands down the pants of every senator. It's really easy to do. They're hoping to stave things off long enough to just become publishers. At that point, they become a permanent monopoly, essentially. Well, who's going to compete with them? Everyone is already intertwined with their services. You have to have one hell of an innovation in order to make an upstart, and the problem is once you make the upstart, you start, again, getting offered 7, 8, 9-figure deals by the tech giants. Same is true of the legacy media. So the Intercept is sold out. Glenn Greenwald is correct. It was atrocious. One of the people that works there, I think one of the editorial staff was like, well, we didn't censor Glenn Greenwald. That is false. We just edited him. So you censored him. You took the story that was well written. You can see the draft here. Seems well written to me. And you told him to remove the parts that were bad for Joe Biden. Because you didn't want people's vote. You didn't want people informed. Because you want Biden to win. You have essentially tacitly endorsed Joe Biden. When these groups say, well, we're not reporting on it because we report on real news. How do you know it's real if you don't conduct an investigation? At what point did the entire corporate media sell out and decide not to do its explicit job, which is to investigate things and try to report the truth? Oh wait, they haven't done that in quite some time. Hence the problem that we see here. That's about all. Peace out.